Hi, I'm Rachel.
And I'm Meg, and this is Ger Can Get It. This week, we make out with Jaws. Alternately, I'm ready for my close-up, Mr. Davies.
If they gave awards for makeouts on screen or stage, this guy would get a lifetime achievement. He'll find any excuse to get right to second face. You honestly wouldn't believe it. Dissecting each and every kiss with tongue. There's only one conclusion to come to. It's that Gare can get it. Gare can get it.
I'm trying so hard with these.
No, they're good. That was good. I liked it. Yeah, it pretty much summed up the entire episode of Street Legal.
I mean, that is true. We probably don't need to do that. That should be this whole week is just, he makes out with a lady. She's a lawyer. All right, see you guys next week and just like end the episode. Okay, so this week we are discussing the original TV series of Street Legal, not the 2019 remake. So this is the one from 1980, I want to say 1987. I think it's about as old as I am, so I think 87.
Yeah, and you can tell because the main actor that we're supposed to think is attractive looks like a troll. Like,
I mean, okay, so we need to discuss him. Because
Okay.
I looked up his age because I was really upset by it, and I thought maybe it was one of those things where like an actor is like 50 and he's like, no, I can play 30. But
no.
the early 90s were a different time. But okay, so we are discussing the original Street Legal. We are discussing season 4, episode 14, The Wedding. It's from January 1990, and Gare plays a character called Anthony Davis. Not Davies, Davis.
Dave is. Yes.
Davis. Okay. And legal shows, I always have a hard time watching them. I'm just going to admit that right now. I have a hard time because either they're too true to life and they start giving me sweaty palms, which is why I can't watch The Paper Chase. I have tried fully 4 times to watch The Paper Chase movie. I cannot get, there's like the first 10 minutes of the movie where they're like at the law school and they're in their seats and the teacher is asking them questions like doing the Socratic method. No joke, I start sweating from my palms and my mouth gets dry and I can't, it's PTSD. I cannot
You have a
emotionally
panic
handle it.
attack.
I do.
Yeah.
I have tried, and I like Edward Harriman, and I'm just gonna say, young Edward Harriman is not to be slept on. Like, there is something very sexy about young Edward Harriman, and the glasses and the hair. Like, I am into it. Even with that, I cannot. Like, have you ever seen a picture of him when he's young?
I'm about to.
Please do, because it is. Look him up in Paper Chase, because he is 20s, late 20s. Oh my god, a specimen. He was so handsome. I cannot get through The Paper Chase. It makes me it makes my stomach hurt. It makes me so upset. So if it's too true to life, I can't watch a legal program. But I'm finding that a lot of modern legal shows just goes too far the other way, where it's such crazy off the wall bullshit that makes no sense at all that it makes me angry. Okay, did you
The
look him
master
up?
vampire from the Lost Boys?
Okay, first off, that is not his shining moment. Although I will say that the 80s glasses that he has, I like
Yeah.
him before they put on the weird Frankenstein green makeup they put on him, which everyone else got to be hot in that movie.
Oh, he just looks sweet.
He does
He
look
has
sweet.
a
He
sweet
looks
face. Yeah.
Yes. Young Edward Harriman is very kissable. I am into it, but I
Yeah.
cannot watch him in The Paper Chase because it hurts my tummy. It makes me very upset. I have a lot of law school trauma and it comes out watching The Paper Chase. But so I feel half the legal programs, not even half, 10% of legal programs, if they're super accurate like that, it hurts my tum-tum. But then the other 90%, I feel are just beautiful people in beautiful clothes saying the stupidest goddamn shit I've ever heard in my whole fucking life. And that just makes me angry because I'm that's not how any of this works. Those words don't mean what you think they mean. It makes me viscerally angry. So Street Legal, at least based on this one episode, made me viscerally angry. So I'm gonna try and get through it, but it's not. If you're looking for accurate takes on the legal industry, no, incorrect, wrong.
The early 90s legal television show isn't where to go. Hot damn. Who knew?
Well,
Who knew?
I mean, everyone liked The Good Wife, and I tried watching The Good Wife, and that was even goofier than that. This at least has a sheen of respectability. The Good Wife was we're all beautiful and dumb, and I was okay. But anyways, so I'm gonna try and get through it, but anyways. So I was trying to find like interesting things about this program, and it turns out that in later seasons of the original, not the remake, but in later seasons, they add this lady as the secretary, and her name is Allison Seeley Smith, and she was Storm from the X-Men cartoon that Kathy Disher was in. And I'm like, it's all coming together. It's all coming together with Kathy. So, and like, this is not going to be interesting to like the American audience maybe, but like for me as a Canadian, I found it weirdly fascinating. But there's this really famous Canadian news broadcaster, and he's got to be retired by now because he's got to be in his 70s, but his name is Peter Mansbridge. He's like the Tom Brokaw. He's like the Canadian Tom Brokaw. He's like the guy. The lady who makes out with Ger in this episode, Olivia, the character is called Olivia Novak. Her real name is her stage name is Cynthia Dale. I don't remember what her real last name is, but Cynthia Dale is married to Peter Mansbridge. And I was like, what? You're married to like the #1 news broadcaster in all of Canada? And I get to see you make out with Ger on TV? Like so Canadian, such a Canadian moment. And as you and I both noticed when we watched this, there's a very brief like 2 scenes with a police officer in this, and the police officer is played by Mark McKinney, Canadian icon from Kids in the Hall, and we see him later in Slings and Arrows with Ger, which is funny because like I don't think
it's all coming together.
Either of them, I don't think they interact with each other in either show. They're like in episodes together, but they're never like in the same scene together.
No, I don't think so.
Which makes me wonder, because we talked about, on IMDb, it says that Ger is in one episode of Kids in the Hall as, like, a heroin dealer or something. And you and I watched that clip, and, like, I think that maybe it's him with his hair slicked back, and you're like, that looks nothing like that man. That is definitely not him. So, like, I'm wondering, like, there's, like, this weird overlap where they're, like, in things together, but they never actually interact. So, like, I'm wondering, do they know each other? We can ask him when we see him in Stratford this summer, against his will. But like it's weird, like I don't know, it's weird that they're like always together but they're never together. Anyways, so young Mark McKinney also should not be slept on. A lot of very handsome men we're going to discuss this episode. One of whom obviously interests us more because this podcast is called Ger Can Get It and not Mark McKinney is super hot. But like, you know, a lot of good. This show makes up in beautiful people and nice clothing what it lacks in substance or writing quality. I feel like. So, okay. So
in actual merit, yes.
In actual merit. I'm trying to find something. Okay. So, this show, like the vibe that I'm getting from the show is that it is sort of like The Good Wife where like we care a lot about like their personal relationships with everyone, or like Grey's Anatomy. Aren't they all fucking each other on Grey's Anatomy? I feel like it's that kind of thing. Yes. Yeah, where it's like we're ostensibly here to discuss, like to deal with these people in their work environment, but it's real small and real incestuous, so they're all going to have sex with each other.
Yep.
Neat. Yeah.
And get married.
And get married. That's hence the wedding. The title is being the wedding. Okay. So there are 3 basic plots that are going on in this episode. There's the Ger plot. There's the Guatemalan waiter trial. Okay. And then there's the wedding plot / their personal conflicts. And like none of these is better than like the Ger one is the best obviously because of Ger, but like they're not good. We're going to try and get through it. It's remember to wear your context lenses because this is from 1990, so like some of the stuff is a little not great, but we're going to try.
They did try. Yeah, a lot of times these shows just didn't have the language. Like we didn't even have the wording to talk about some of these themes. And so even when you see it, they're trying, but they're using all the terms that we don't use anymore because they don't have the respectful language that we have. Yeah. But
you're right. They do try. They are better than I would expect. But also watching it, I was like, okay, you're trying. You're trying, but you're approaching it in a weird 90s way where like if the plot were like the language is good, but the gentleness is nice, but the actual plot is real bad and weird. But okay, so we're gonna get through this. Okay, so the lawyer wedding / personal complex plot. Okay, so 2 of the lawyers at this law firm are called Alana Newman and Leon Rabinovich, and they're getting married, and it's definitely her second marriage because she mentions that. For Leon, I don't know if it's his second or he's like a later in life guy.
I think it's married. His first. Yeah.
So this is what we mentioned earlier. His character is supposed to be 41 years old. I looked him up. I did the math. In 1990, I think the actor who plays Leon Rabinovich would have been maybe 44. So like in the same age range. When I first saw this on the computer when we were sitting watching it together, I thought he was 77. He is rough. He is so rough for his age. I feel so bad.
It's a hard 41. That's a hard 44.
I am 36 and I watched that and I was like, fuck you. Come on. Don't do that to me. I know I have gray hair. I'm going to go dye it right the fuck now because this hurts my heart that was 41 or 44, I guess, in real life. Like I saw that and I was like, ugh. And I don't know how old the actress who plays Alana is. She does not look as old as him. I think she's supposed to be sort of in the same age range. But like, even if she's in her late 30s, like in 1990, late 30s looked like 42. Like everyone looks a lot older.
Yeah, but he's also like small. Like that's not why he's not attractive, but he's like short, which is fine. I'm not a size queen, but he's really thin. So it's like he's tiny. He's like small and really skinny, and then he's like wizened, and then he has gray hair. He looks like he should be like popping out of a tree in a fantasy thing and being like, I shall show you the way. Like he doesn't. I'm sorry. Normally I try to be really gracious about, but he's framed as like so attractive. This woman like is willing to put up with his shenanigans to have him.
I mean,
and he's the lead actor in this show.
I appreciate when any show gives us a romantic lead who is not a traditional romantic lead. Like, not to say that like Nigel Bennett is not handsome, because he is very handsome, but like
he's unconventionally handsome.
And so like the one time in Forever Night where he gets to like have a gentle makeout scene, I was like, oh, I'm really into this for reasons we don't have to go into. So like I like when they give someone unconventional like a chance of being loved, and they don't frame it as like pity fuck, which I feel like sometimes we do in more modern shows where they're like, look at her, she's fat and ugly, but someone blind found her, and you're just like, okay, like thank you.
What's that movie with Jack Black?
Oh, with Gwyneth Paltrow.
Shallow Hal.
Thank you, God.
Shallow Hal.
But I like that you came from a good place in your heart, but also like, why are we only worthy if there's like some version of us that can be translated into a beautiful person? Like why can't we uggos get love, I guess is my question.
Well, I mean, also the main actor in Street Legal is not charming. Like he's not only
supposed to be.
Is he? I don't know. He was very off-putting. I had a really difficult time with him. I was like, I'm trying so hard. I'm just not. I don't understand. And he's got like the weird 90s hair where they would grow their hair long and then they'd like comb it back but not slick it down. So it's just like they're always in a headwind. And it's just like, it's so like Nick's hair from the second half of season 3, where it was just like, Ger, go get a haircut, but he never did. So they just like did what they could. Yeah. Which, okay. Sorry. I will not.
No, please do. Please. I like any episode where when I'm editing, it's not just my voice and then you being like, yep. Because then I feel like we're both having a discussion. But like, Can we pause for a second to discuss Forever Night and to discuss Ger for like 12 seconds? Because Monsters, Madness, and Magic, they just released their podcast episode where they interviewed Ger, and we were all really excited for it. And like I listened to it and I loved it. But it turns out that I've been saying his name wrong this whole fucking time for like 9 episodes, and I'm real bummed out about it. So apparently, Rachel, will you say it? Because you say it the right way, and I'm still working on it.
Geraint. He says it's like pear pint.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Anytime in an interview he uses those 2 words, he's like, it's like pear pint. Geraint.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Totally have been fucking it up for 9 episodes, and I'm real bummed about it. So
okay. We only have a podcast dedicated to him. It's time.
I know! That's why I feel like an asshole. I was like, God damn it. So mad. Anyways, I'm just going to keep calling him Sir, because that's what works for me.
Or Ger. We usually say Ger, so we're good.
Yeah, but then I also feel like I felt really embarrassed when I called him Ger to his face. Like we're not there. We're gonna be there. We're not there yet.
Yeah. Okay. Sure. We're not there. What will be achieving that, Meg? What What standard must we meet to be able to shorten his name? Because you were like, hi, Ger. And then did the little wave.
I know. I'm still so traumatized.
Doop, doop. And then you told his fellow actors you were there to see Ger. Oh, no, I'm here for Ger.
Because I don't know. I don't know what happened. I don't. But like in person, I know what happened is that I had an emotional blackout and you had one too. Okay, we both had emotional blackouts together.
I know.
But in the future, it will be Mr. Wynne Davies, sir. Until we get to a Ger place.
I don't think he'd care, honestly. I think you could call him whatever.
But like, I want to be polite and respectful in person, even if I'm wet and sweaty on the podcast. So, anyways, okay.
Heard. All right, I'll back you up on this.
I sense the judgment in your eyes. I felt bad. I felt bad that like this whole time I've been saying his name wrong, and then I was like, oh fuck. Okay. So, anyways,
troll lawyer.
I think he's supposed to be charming. I think he's supposed to be cool because they talk about his past as like a rabble rouser when he lived in Montreal and when he was in university and he was like a protest leader. I think he's supposed to be like the cool like hippie lawyer is kind of the vibe that I get from him. But I can't deny that he's an unconventional love interest and that every time he's making out with the wife like in a broom closet, I was like, oh, okay.
That'd be because he's shorter than she is.
He's like a full foot shorter than she is, and it's you know what? Like I'm for it. I support. I love his
fine.
Love.
It's fine.
Just different.
It's fine. Yeah,
and he does have sort of a Keebler Elf vibe about him.
But we didn't have any other time to fall in love with him because we only watched this one episode, and it's the episode where they get together. So we didn't see any of their romance.
Would that have mattered for you?
Maybe.
It sounds
it might have.
I found him charming. I found him likable. I found him very sweet. I liked that he was getting this. It felt like a deserved relationship somehow. And like I know I'm just basing that on this one episode, but like it felt like I've been alone for a long time and now I get this. And she never thought she'd find love again. I never thought I would find love at all. And like, I don't know. I liked it.
Yeah.
But like to say that he's like a conventional male lead would be very wrong. Like he's different. And he made me feel bad about being 36 because he is a hard 41. Hard. So anyway, so they're together. He is 112 and she has perfect like late 80s business lady hair, which is to say her hair is a giant upside down triangle, which like I am a little sad that we don't have that hairstyle anymore, but also as a culture, it's probably good. But anyway, so it's just it's so specifically dated. Anyways, so Elena and Leon are going to get married and they're like doing all their thing. Then there's another lawyer for their firm and her name is Olivia Novak and she's in love with this other lawyer whose name is Chuck. I don't know what his last name is. It doesn't matter. His name is Chuck, and he looks like every other white man in this episode who is not Leon Rabinovich, which got very confusing for me. But so Olivia is in love with Chuck. It felt like they used to be together, and they no longer are. Like they're now antagonistic towards each other, but they still like she would look at him with longing, and then he would look at her with longing, and it was like, okay, are they like will they, won't they? But they seemed like they're just in like the fresh off the breakup, fuck you, but I also would like to fuck you place.
Yeah.
Yeah. So later in the episode when we have the actual wedding, Olivia shows up alone because she's like, maybe I'm going to get to hook up with Chuck. And I have thoughts about that, which we will discuss shortly. But she's like, Chuck, I want Chuck. Chuck shows up with this woman named Jennifer and they keep calling her a bimbo. And I'm like, first off, rude. Second off, if you're going to call her a bimbo, like at least like give me like dress her like a bimbo, like give her like 6-inch clear stripper heels, give her like giant blonde hair. No, she's just like a blonde lady who doesn't appear to be a lawyer. And I'm like, if that's the only reason they're calling her a bimbo, like I know lots of bimbo lawyers, like men and women, he bimbos and she bimbos. Like there are lots of them. So her not being a lawyer, like that is not sufficient for me to grant her bimbo status. But I was like kind of bummed out that they like would not stop fucking saying the word bimbo. Like
I think it's just supposed to sound judgy. Like, oh, I can't believe he left her for her.
Yeah.
She's such a bimbo. Yeah.
Yeah. But, like, we don't get anything. Like, we get, like, 3 lines of dialogue from her, from Jennifer, and I just felt bad for her. Because she knows that this Chuck guy, like, would prefer somebody else. Like, she knows she's the second choice this whole episode.
Yeah.
And I was just like, God, the show, like, it hurts my heart and my eyes. Okay. So, Olivia wants Chuck. Chuck has Jennifer. Alana and Leon are fucking in the coat closet. So then there's another set. There's like now a triangle, a love triangle at work, an additional bunch of lawyers. So there's Carrie, who is a lawyer. She's a white lady who is always has a little girl named Kim tagging along behind her, who feels like, okay, I didn't actually look this up because I don't give a shit, but like, she's like a little kid. So you would think that it was like her daughter, but there's like a vibe of like, I just adopted you. You're my kid's sister. Like, my friend left town in a hurry and I had to like take care of her kid. Did you get that vibe at all, or am I crazy?
Yeah, it felt kind of like maybe she was divorced and she had the child and she didn't spend a lot of time with the child, and now she was spending more time with it. So maybe it was hers, but she didn't know anything about it.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, there's definitely like some sort of a distance there, like that felt different from like, I'm the mom and this is my kid and she's always around.
Yeah.
So there's Carrie with some child who's tagging along with her that I guess we're fine with. She's into this other lawyer at the firm. His name is Dylan. All I have from him is that he is black and he's a lawyer, and he gives Carrie a bunch of like children's books for Kim that are all about like women with jobs. And he's like, here's all this feminist stuff. And I'm like, thank you for the feminist children's books, but like also like you said the word feminist like so heavily that it felt a little like, here's the bullshit that you're into. And I was like, because the book was literally like I'm a lady and I have a job, and I'm like, okay, all right, thank you for this, but like you're acting like it's like crazy like feminazi propaganda for just a book that's like I'm a mom and sometimes I work. And I was like, okay. But anyways, he and Carrie are dating, but this guy named Nick, who is a cop, because all cops in the 90s were named Nick, I guess. White cop Nick is into Carrie, and like the way that he expresses this is by being a fucking bastard the entire episode. Like, he's into her in like a weird caveman, I'm gonna beat the shit out of you and drag you with your hair kind of way, which was upsetting. Yeah. And what's upsetting is that cop Nick and lawyer Chuck look like the same fucking person. It took me 2 times watching it to be like, wait, I thought you were with, wait, aren't you with, because they both are just like giant white guys with big rectangle heads. And I was like, I literally halfway through, I was like, am I getting face blindness? Like, I know that's a thing that happens if you get dementia sometimes. I was like, do I have dementia now? Like, what is, but no, they're just white guys in the early 90s and they all looked the same. So that's their cross to bear. So, they all have this like weird mullet hair that like I don't like, you know, that thing where it's like not quite a mullet, but like it aspires to grow into a mullet. It's like just a little bit too long. It's just, so like, Carrie is with Dylan, and Nick wants to be with her. And then, like, at some point, Nick punches Dylan square in the fucking face. And it's just like, oh, like, I want her, and you have her, like, pow, right in the fucking face. Dylan falls over and then just stoically, like, gets up and is like, I guess that's a thing I have to deal with. And I was like, is this because it's 1990 and you're black and you're not allowed to show anger on television? Or ... question mark?
Yeah.
Yeah, it just felt so weird. Like, is there some... I can't think of any context that would make this make sense other than I'm black and it's 1990 and, like, my character can't show anger, which I don't know. Am I reading into it too much? She asked the other white co-host.
No, I mean, yeah. This is one of those ones where we're, like, too far removed. It's 30 years old, 34 years old. We're too far removed to be able to see it the way that somebody viewing it in 1990 would have seen it.
Yeah.
And
I wish I knew what that would have, like, if it's 1990 and you watch this on television, does it make sense to you because of this particular show? Like the Dylan, Nick, Carrie dynamic? Does it make sense to you because of the 90s? Like, does it not make sense to you? So, okay. So there's the Alana and Leon couple. There's the Olivia and Chuck used to be couple. There's the Carrie, Dylan, Nick love triangle. all at this tiny little law firm, which is like, don't shit where you eat. That's, and especially in a tiny law firm, like that just sounds awful. But anyways, so we have all their personal conflicts. And then additionally, so we've got Alana's parents, are the bride, her parents are coming in from Alberta. And for whatever reason, they're like, well, we're going to just come in on a train. And I'm like, you took a train from Alberta all the way to Ontario? Like, was it like a 4-day train journey? Like, okay, whatever. Fine. See the sights, I guess. You don't want to be there on time for your kid's wedding. Sure. So they're coming in on the train. And they expect to be met at the train station by Leon, who they have never met before, which I was like, okay, that's okay. So they're like, we've never met him before. They don't know what he looks like, but they know that he is from Montreal. And you can be from Montreal and not be French Canadian. Like you can be, you're either an Anglophone or you're a Francophone. Like they're different cultures, but like you could be from the same place is the short explanation of it. So He is an Anglophone from Montreal. So the entire time that we see Alana's parents, they will not fucking shut up about how much they hate the Quebecois, the Francophones. They will not fucking shut up about it. It gets, and like, it gets played sort of for laughs, like, because they're like, oh, thank God you're not, they don't say Quebecois. I think they say you're not
like, haha, they're racist.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. But it's like, but it is played for laughs. It's one of those things where like, you know, like there's like racism that we don't get to make fun of. And then there's like stuff that's like on the border that it's TV shows sometimes. Yeah. Like, no, this is fine. We can make fun of this. And like, it's all cool. That's
like
kind
rednecks,
of where
like making fun of Southern. Yeah. Rednecks.
Yes. So like, that's where it comes from. So like, that's kind of the vibe. So then when the parents finally meet Leon, they're like, oh, like, we're so happy that you're not like one of them. He does a fake Quebecois accent. Like the way Celine Dion talks. Yeah. She's from Quebec. So when she speaks English, like that is sort of a Quebecois accent. So he like does that, but he like ramps it all the way up to 11. And I was like, oh, it feels like a hate crime. Oh, I don't like watching this. I don't like it. So
I didn't have the same visceral reaction that you had. I mean, I get it, but yeah, it's probably the same way I feel when people do a Southern accent.
I just like, I grew up with so much of the, like hearing people make fun of the Quebecois accent, and I haven't heard people make fun of it for a long time because like obviously it does not come up in America very often.
Not often.
So hearing the anti-Quebecois sentiment, and then like right after it, him being like, oh, wouldn't it be funny if I really sounded like this? Like,
well, probably more accurate would be when people do the Southern accent because they're dumb. Like, oh, yes. I don't get it. I'm really slow. Like the.
Well, yeah, So it just, I don't know. I was like, I don't. It's been a while since I heard this. My skin's crawling. So, all of it was terrible. They have a bachelorette party for the women, and they go to a fucking pool hall, and I guess they're all pool sharks. And I was like, okay. And then the guys have their bachelor party at like generic restaurant, and I was like, seriously? Like, okay. So they're at like just some generic restaurant reminiscing about when they used to be young activists, and for whatever reason that translates into them getting drunk, going up to like a sailing ship, like a big ship in the harbor, climbing it and like spray painting shit on it, and that's where they get caught by Mark McKinney, the cop. And I was like, the fuck even? Okay. This,
they're like, we're all lawyers.
Yeah,
we're like, we're gonna get out. It's fine. You don't even need to arrest us. We're all lawyers. And he's like, yeah, I still have to take you in. I'm really sorry. You're defacing property right now.
Yeah. I'm just gonna say, I'm gonna choose my words very carefully and say that the least true part of that scene was the cop taking them in. And it was therefore the part of that scene that I appreciated the most. And I'm just gonna
leave it at that.
I'm just gonna leave it at that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I have had a storied legal career. I myself have never defaced a steamship, so I'm just gonna. Anyways, so all the characters are trying to fuck each other, and they're all real weird, and it's 1990, which is to say it's all very 80s, and it's a lot. And I feel like the Leon character is charming, but like all the other characters either have no personality or they're just weird and they're too much, and I don't like them. So okay, so while we're like preparing for the wedding, so the episode starts with the characters all at like some restaurant. There is a woman sitting at this restaurant who is dressed exactly like Carmen Sandiego. She has a giant Carmen Sandiego hat with a huge brim, and she's wearing a red trench coat that is like lipstick red. Like she is, you would notice her in the sea of brown suited people like anywhere. She stands the fuck out. So they're at this restaurant. When the episode starts, they're talking about like their plans for the wedding and like, I have to do this, you have to do that, whatever. And then their waiter is a guy that they all know. He's from Guatemala. They're all friends with him. And then, all of a sudden the manager comes over and he accuses the waiter of stealing from the till. And he's like, no, it was like the fucking Carmen Sandiego bitch. She's the one. I saw her at the till. She took the money, and like somehow nobody else notices her. This bitch stands out. Like, you didn't really. She's like a 4 foot tall Asian woman in the world's biggest hat. Like, are you fucking okay?
Bright red.
So they're like, we don't know what you're talking about. So like, because this is the fakest show, the trial of the waiter is like the next day. And I was like, Are you fucking, like, not like 6 months later, like the very next day we're in court all of a sudden, and Leon has to be the one that represents the Guatemalan waiter. And I'm like, so you're getting married today. Yesterday, Carmen Sandiego stole from the till, and today you're defending the waiter so he doesn't get deported, who's being accused of the crime that Carmen Sandiego committed. And I was like, oh, okay, I hate all of you, but whatever. So, they're doing their trial instead of preparing for the wedding, and then like at some point they're like we might even have to like cancel the honeymoon, we might have to like move shit around, and some of the other lawyers are like, can you let us just take over? And I'm like, first off, why is this happening so quickly? But like, second off, why does it have to be your dumbass that's doing it? You clearly only need like 12 hours apparently to prepare for an entire trial, which no, wrong. But okay, fine. You only need like 12 hours. Like, let Carrie or let one of the other people do it. Like, why not? He's like, no, it's my job. And I'm like, okay, I liked you, Leon. You were like cute and fun, even though you're homely and a lot. But like, I don't understand what this is. So, I literally in my notes, I was like, it's less stupid than The Good Wife, but like not by a lot, not by very much at all. So anyway, so like they're doing the trial while preparing for the wedding. On the way to the wedding, Elena and Leon are in the limousine together driving to their wedding, and they see this Carmen Sandiego bitch, and she's still dressed like Carmen Sandiego. And I'm like, this is your everywhere outfit? This wasn't just like a special occasion at the one restaurant in town where you just feel like fancying it up?
You own that red coat, you wear that everywhere.
With the giant hat! Like, I cannot emphasize enough that she is like a 4 foot tall Filipino woman with a 6 foot wide hat. Like, I just can't. So they're like, driver, stop the car. And he's like, aren't we going to the wedding? And they're like, we have important legal things to get a hold of. And I was like, okay. So they chase her into her apartment building. And I'm like, this is how you get murdered on your wedding day. First off, that's how that happens. This is how you die. So, they chase her into her apartment building. She pops the door open, and they find out that she's a trans woman, which I don't think they even like have a name for that at that point. Like, they don't call her anything, which, you know what, like, was a good choice for 1990. Like, don't try and put your 1990 word. She is, for a modern audience, you would say she is a trans woman and leave it at that. But anyways, so she steals the money from the till to fund her gender confirmation surgery. But I was like, wait a second, because she stole like what was in the till like from that day. I have to imagine that the surgery is more than like $50 and a coupon for a free sandwich. So I was
you hope so. You sincerely hope so.
Maybe she's going to see the same doctors that we saw in Republic of Doyle, who are just funding shit out of the back of their van.
And one of them's actually impersonating a dead doctor? Yeah, probably.
Oh my God.
That sounds fair.
Oh, we found the crossover. So she's like, yeah, I need to fund my surgery. So I just figured I would steal from the till and nobody would be hurt. And I was like, really? You just, okay. So they're all weirdly fine with it. She's like, well, you've caught me. I guess I will not get my surgery today. I will give myself up and I will go to prison. And I was like, okay, well, I guess you had to wrap it up. So, okay.
But
yeah. Donezo.
Done.
So this makes no goddamn sense. So she's like, I will turn myself in. And they're like, yes, okay, good. So she does turn herself in. And the cops are like, okay, releasing you on your own recognizance. And I'm like, but you were going to deport the guy for stealing the money 12 seconds ago. Like, but she just, we're good? We're good. We're good. We don't even, okay.
Gay panic. All right. You can leave.
I get this is. I would argue that this is perhaps going too far the other way. Like I respect her gender identity, but also she's a criminal. And she's dressed like Carmen Sandiego, so she could flee at any moment, and you never know where she's going to go. So, like...
Where in the world
could
she have gone?
So, anyways, they're like... they let Samantha / Carmen Sandiego, they, like, let her go. And what does she do? She shows up to the wedding. She, like... First off, she shows up in a very nice dress. So she, like, got home, clearly, changed into her I'm going to a fancy wedding outfit, shows up with a big box, and she gives it to Alana, and she goes... this is something that I was going to wear at my own wedding. And I'm like, okay, why is everyone, and it's like clearly lingerie, like clearly it's lingerie. It's not like a dress. It's not like a wedding dress. So I'm like, so between this and Forever Night, we have two separate moments of people just thinking it's okay to like randomly gift lingerie in the 90s. And I'm like, I get that we were all beating each other's faces in. I get that we were all using like insensitive language. And being racist as hell. Like, I'm aware of all those things. Like, I sort of culturally understand that we were all just fucking worse in 1990. Like, I get it. Why were we all giving each other lingerie? Because it doesn't fit into the sort of fits into the we were all worse
Never do
narrative.
That.
Why? Especially, like, to a stranger? And, come on, the line of, like, I wanted this for me... You have it. I'm like, that's worse than giving Natalie the like pity fuck lingerie on her 30th birthday and Forever Night. Like that's insensitive, but like I get that they're like we hope that Nick Knight fucks you at some point. Maybe if you have a pretty little bustier, maybe that'll cinch the deal for you. But here's the lingerie that I was gonna wear when I could have maybe had somebody, but I'm never gonna have anyone, and I'm also going to prison. Here you go. I'm just like, there's so much to unpack there. Yeah. There's so much. Just don't buy people lingerie. You will know if you're in the situation where you should. You'll know. If you have anything to question, you're not there. You're not there yet. So she is, I guess, going to go to prison later. And the waiter who was just about to be deported, they let him out to work the wedding. And so then Leon is like, oh yeah, by the way, we're fine. And I'm like... That's not how any of this works, but okay, all right, sure, whatever.
Fine.
You're all terrible. Okay.
To the plot.
We get to the actual good plot, which is like, it's not actually that exciting, but like it is the perfect Ger performance that like I can't be mad at it. So Ger plays Anthony Davis. He is a film director being sued by a stuntman who got injured on the set of a movie that Ger was directing. So apparently they were filming some kind of a dream sequence about Vietnam, and the stuntman is supposed to like run through a field, and there's like a bunch of like mortar shells that are going off like next to him while he's running to simulate like he's being shot at, and one of the shells goes off too close to his head, and he loses his hearing in one ear like forever. So we first meet Ger, and he sort of seems like kind of a stubborn prick. Like Olivia is trying to explain to him. Like you're being sued for this guy's injuries, in tort for this guy's injuries. There's a pretty good chance that we're gonna lose because he's gonna be a very sympathetic victim. Like he can't hear out of one ear now. Like he's never gonna be able to be a stuntman ever again. Like he's lost his whole career. He's gonna be really sympathetic. Like we should just make a deal and go. And Ger's like, I know that I'm right, and it's not my fault that he lost his hearing. And fuck that guy. He's actually just not a very good stuntman, and he's just not good at his job, and that's not my fault that you're not good at your job. Like, I am going to fight. And, like, at least in my personal and admittedly limited experience with clients, that attitude makes me want to blow my fucking brains out. when you're like, there's a good chance that you're going to lose, and you're going to lose by a lot more money than you would if we settled. And they're like, fuck you, I'm right, morally. And you're like, okay, like, morally is not going to pay your bill at the end of this. And you're going to be paying for my time too. So like, I'm just telling you, like, this is not a good choice. But so my response to that is, you fucking asshole. Her response to that is to get really hot. Did you notice that? He's like, I want to fight. And she's like, oh yeah, you want to fight? Like, yeah. And I was like, okay.
Harder, daddy.
I mean, she's like, oh. And I was like, oh, okay.
Okay.
I will say, like, one of the few redeeming things about this episode is even though it's 1990 and most of the hair is awful and the fashion is terrible, it was at least sort of in the same vein as, like, modern legal TV shows where I feel like the budget for clothing is a little bit higher than, like, for a similar TV show that's not with lawyers. And I feel like for this whole episode, they used the money on the bride's truly insane bedazzled wedding dress with tiara and veil. And for Ger, because they dress him so well in this episode. He's got his little mushroom haircut, and I'm like, okay, good. Not like wild and crazy Ger hair.
Correct.
I like it.
All right.
They throw a tailored top coat on him, and I'm like, oh, wool top coat. Yes, good. Just so long and so tight. And then they put him in two separate, not at the same time, which is rare for him, two separate, very nice quality looking, like really brightly colored dress shirts. And our Never Nude unbuttons the first two buttons, and I was like, oh my god, are we getting Ger chest? We never get Ger chest. No wonder Olivia. No wonder Olivia's creaming her pants. She's like, oh my god, almost a clavicle.
I can't handle the beauty. I think I saw a chest.
So I was like, okay, like you're really into it. He's very handsome. He seems charming, but also like stubborn and sort of a prick. And like, I don't know at the end of this, like if I believe that he's not to blame, but we'll get there in a second. So
yeah. I was going to say, I think what we're supposed to get is this guy lied. The guy who got injured lied about his experience as a stuntman. So they were expecting him to be able to handle this stunt.
So there is language. They have that conversation where he's like, yeah, this guy, like, oh, when he's on the stand, Olivia asks the guy, oh, so like you just made up shit on your resume. And because in the past you had only really done like small falling down stunts, and this was like a technically difficult thing where there are going to be mortars going off and you had to like know exactly where to step. And like it was a lot different than what you've done in the past. So you lied. And he's like, yes, I lied. But then Ger's character makes a comment where he goes, I was throwing this guy a bone by giving him this job. He hadn't worked in a couple of years and I knew he was unqualified. And I'm like, are you saying now that like you knew he was unqualified? Like now you know he's unqualified and you were just throwing him a bone because he hadn't worked in a while? Or were you throwing him a bone because he hadn't worked in a while and you knew he was bullshitting on his resume and you were like gonna get him for cheaper than like an actually qualified guy? I don't know. Like some of the language, I think we're meant to take from it that like he lied and then Ger used him and now Ger's like, okay, you lied and now it's my fault that you fucked up. I think that's probably how we're supposed to take it. But some of the comments that he makes where he's like, I was throwing him a bone. I was like, so...
I think he says something like, I was trusting him to be able to tell me when he didn't know how to do a thing. And he didn't tell me he didn't know how to do the thing.
He might have said that too. I mean, that would like put it into more context. But it seemed interesting to me that like, I don't know, like at the end of it, like I didn't personally feel satisfied that Ger had done nothing wrong in hiring the guy. Like it felt like
it feels a little skeezy.
It feels a little skeezy. So Ger's lawyer Olivia is like, look, we're only gonna settle if you're the one that pays all the money and then you accept all liability and you indemnify Ger totally. And the guy from ImageWorks is like, I'm real mad about it, but like I know that we're gonna lose more money if we don't. So I guess to deal with stubborn Ger on the one side and the guy who only can hear out of one ear on the other side, I guess we're gonna have to just get fucked by everybody. Fine, whatever. And he calls Ger's character and Olivia, he calls them both sharks. He's like, oh, I hope you're both happy, you stupid sharks. Like, meh. And then he like stomps off. And I'm like, okay, like good legal dealing with you, whatever. So at this point, this is where it becomes a true Ger performance. This is like the only redeeming part of this whole fucking episode. Because the second that this other guy is like, yes, I take the deal. And so I guess... like, you know, like there's still paperwork to fill out, but I guess in some sense at this point, the case is now settled, sort of. I mean, like not technically, but, you know, conceptually. At this point, Ger turns to Olivia and goes, I want to take you out for dinner. Oh shit, wait, don't you have a wedding tonight? I want to take you out to the wedding. Like in like one breath. Dinner, wait, wedding? And I was like, yes, good. Excellent.
No notes.
No notes. It went straight from you're my lawyer and I'm going to be sort of a prick because we're going to have like client lawyer like hard talk to you are no longer my lawyer. You're a human female within 50 feet of me. Let's get it on. And I was like, yes, now we have the reason for you in this episode. Like thumbs up, no notes. I love it. So she's like, this is where she's like, I am going to the wedding tonight. You are Geraint Wynne Davies. Look, I said it right. Yay. You are Geraint Wynne Davies, and I do want to fuck you because I'm a human woman, and that's how this game is played. However, I, for whatever reason, am super into Chuck. And I want to go to the wedding to, like, I think I'm going to shoot my shot with Chuck at the wedding. And I was like, okay, we discussed this a little bit. We discussed this a whole fucking lot in Republic of Doyle, where there's someone who has the chance to be with Ger, and she picks the ugliest, homeliest, freakiest, whateverist guy. And I'm like, you couldn't, like, this, like, really? Like, whatever, like, Chuck has on you. Like, first off, you guys seem to have an antagonistic relationship. Second off, I guess you don't know this at this point, but, like, he's already moved on to be with Bimbo Jennifer. But, like, third off, like, fucking what? Like, what? Like, you had Ger, you had young 90s Ger with, like, the top coat and the mushroom cut and the unbuttoned shirt.
He undid a button for you.
2 buttons.
2 buttons.
Yeah. He went
that doesn't happen every day.
Yeah. You got full on, like, milky white chest sex machine. And you were like, no, I want the guy with the rectangle head and the proto mullet. Fucking no. No, you make bad choices. You don't deserve joy. Why? Why did you pick square, like, rectangle head man? Why did you pick him? Like, he's just, and he seems like a douche the whole episode.
Yeah, I think he's supposed to be a douchebag, and yet she's still pursuing him. One of those, I just love him. I don't know what to do about it, and everyone's like, yeah, you do. Stop trying to date him.
Right? Maybe she's only into jerks, because, like, the Ger character is sort of a jerk when she first meets him. I don't know. Maybe that's her I know that. So when Street Legal gets brought back in 2019, Olivia is, like, the only character that comes back as, like, a main character. Like, I think some of them, like, pop in as, like, cameos and stuff, but she's like the main one. And I'm just like, I don't know. I don't know that I want to watch you again because you make poor choices. Like, I didn't want to watch because it's, like, a legal show and it's going to be goofy and painful and shit, but, like, you make the wrong choice. You had a very clear choice, and you were like, zoop, no. So, anyways, so the last thing that she says to Ger, to his character, before she goes to the wedding is, like, I am going to try to shoot my shot with fucking rectangle head Frankenstein monster man, and that's my choice. Sorry. So Ger's like, I respect it. I understand that. Like, see you later. So she goes to the wedding. She's wearing a really cute, I hope this style comes back now that all the 90s styles are coming back, dress, which is to say it's a little black dress with, like, insane gold poofy sleeves. And I think that we've established that I'm into a poofy sleeve. So, like, when she's got her little golden sleeve poofs, she shows up at the wedding. Apparently, not only is she a lawyer, but she's, like, a fucking lounge singer in her spare time. So, like, I was like, I know some lawyers who, like, have, like, I'm going to play my guitar at the local casino Saturday nights, like, those gigs. But she is, like, professional Broadway quality. And, in fact, this actress has been on Broadway. She's professional Broadway quality, like, lounge singer. And I was like, sure. That makes as much sense as fucking anything else. Why not? So she gets up there and she sings a torch song as, like, as Leon and Alana, as, like, their first dance. She sings a torch song to Chuck. And I was like, okay. All right. She sings, what is it? I Didn't Want to Love You, which I think is the name of the song, while staring directly into Chuck's eyes as he dances with tiny Jennifer, who is, like, a full-on foot shorter than him. So when he's turning around, he's just staring directly at Olivia. And I was like, well, that's uncomfortable. While Jennifer, like, is, like, dancing there, like, I know I'm not your choice, but I guess I'll dance. And I was like, this is okay. This is, So anyways, so Olivia, like, sings her Please Fuck Me song. Chuck does not give into it. Olivia is sad, and then she gets a drink spilled on her, and she's like, fuck it. Like, my night is over. I'm done. Ger, I guess, has Ger sense. He just, like, senses that horniness is happening and that there's, like, a woman who is not getting it right now.
Yes. I feel like Toronto might actually have, like, a bat signal, but, like, for Ger. Yes, Commissioner Gordon. Is there a woman that needs me? There's so many women that need you tonight, Ger. It's just a raised eyebrow.
He just feels a twinge. He just feels like a twinge in his pants, and he's like, there is a woman who is sexually unfulfilled within 50 miles. I must go. And he, like, does, like, this little Forever Night, like, leap, right? So, so he shows up at the wedding. He's walking in the building. He sees Chuck and Jennifer. And, like, even though Chuck and Jennifer, like, do not want to be there together, they're making out in the hallway because I guess you're going to get your pity fuck whenever. So Ger's like, oh, hey, like, am I in the right place? Like, are you, like, is this the wedding of whatever? And Chuck is like, yeah, and I'm the best man. And somehow he knows. I don't think that that Olivia ever told the Ger character, oh, the guy I'm pining after is the best man. But, like, somehow, I don't know, again, magic dick sense. He just knows. He knows that this is the one that Olivia wants and that he's not for her. So he's like, all right, whatever, dude. So he walks into the wedding. He crashes the wedding. He sees Olivia, who is like covered in white wine and pissed off and about to leave. And he's like, sup. And I was like, oh, yes, correct. Good job. Good job. He shows up. Chuck it. Yeah. I sense a woman who needs me. So he shows up. He's wearing, again, like the sexy fucking structured top coat. And I was like, thank God. So he shows up. He takes off his top coat and he's like, hey, best man. And he like tosses it at Chuck.
Behind him, like tosses it over his shoulder, like, hold my fucking coat. That's so good.
Yeah. Yeah. Take my coat, you fucking incel bitch. I'm going to sleep with your woman. And I was like, yay. Yay, finally. So he goes out. He like not only just goes to like to dance with Olivia, he does like a patented Ger spider hand, sexy kiss on the cheek, look back at Chuck, fuck you, dude, off to the dance floor. And I was like, no notes. Just perfect. You've done that in everything we've ever seen you in. Please continue to do that in everything we ever will see you in. Just give us the Ger performance that we want. Even though you're only in this episode for like 30 seconds and you might be responsible for a man going deaf, I don't care. Fuck that guy.
Okay,
like, good
fine.
for you. So the episode ends with everyone like standing outside the synagogue, and the wedding couple comes out and they're all like throwing the rice and shit, whatever. And they Ger is outside with Olivia, like they're standing together. We end the episode with them seeming like, oh, okay, like, are you gonna, you know, like, is something gonna happen here? Like, is this gonna be like you're gonna date him for a little bit before winding up with Chuck or whoever you wind up with? No. He never shows up again in any other future episode. I don't know if they like address it at all verbally the next episode, like, oh, he had to go back to his home planet.
Just gone.
Yeah, just totally disappears. And I was like, oh, Street Legal, like you just wasted, like you literally had him swoop in knight in shining armor to sweep her off her feet at a wedding. So romantic. Looking so handsome with her in her beautiful little like 1990 dress and her little sexy bob cut. Like, this could have been something. This could have been great. He's the guy that makes Chuck jealous. Like, make this happen. Give me like 10 episodes of this. Fucking no! No, we get TV series Blue Balled. He gets one like makeout scene in a synagogue and then nothing. And I was like, damn you, Street Legal, I will never watch you again. Even though like I already was not gonna watch because you seem real dumb and also legal stuff makes my palms sweat. But like I would have.
But Ger would have gotten me there. I would have done it for Ger.
He would have gotten me there. I would have watched every dumb fucking bullshit. Fake law, nobody has been to a courtroom ever, legal bullshit. I would have watched all of it joyfully. I would have paid real money, real Canadian dollars to watch this show, which apparently until like 2015, this was the longest running 1 hour scripted program in Canadian television history. This was like a big fucking deal, Street Legal. I would have watched all 3 billion episodes if you'd given me some more Ger, but you didn't. You're dead to me, Street Legal.
Wow.
You're dead. This thing lasted eight seasons, and then they bring it back in 2019 for one season, which they're now calling season 9 because it didn't get renewed after that. So to make it less sad, they just like sweep it into the first series, kind of. But yeah, this thing was like a big fucking deal. I don't know. I know I locked myself into rating things for like the whole episode. So like if I'm rating out of 10 for the whole episode, I don't know. I gave Diamonds, like a 4.5. I gave Republic of Doyle like a 4 or 5 or whatever. I don't know, like a 3.
Ooh.
Well, no, maybe a 4? Maybe a 4 just because Ger coming in at the end and whipping a coat at somebody was so satisfying.
That was really satisfying.
And I really did enjoy him being like, okay, you're not my lawyer. Do you want to go out to dinner? Oh, wait, you're at a wedding. Do you want to go to the wedding? Like, I liked him being like, bam, 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 bam. Like,
I'll be your plus one. Yeah.
So I don't know, 4, I guess. It's like a bare knuckle, like fingernails gripping onto the edge of the 4, about to fall into a 3. That's where I fall. So okay. I'm sorry. What did you give?
I'm gonna go 3.5 raised eyebrows out of 5. I'm going to introduce the half raised eyebrow. Because he definitely moves through every scene that he's in this with his usual, like, the casual confidence of the man who knows the only thing standing between him and fucking these women is asking them out on a date.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong. Like the very first scene that we have of him, which I wanted to discuss earlier, and like I forgot, I blacked out, was like the inverse of that infamous scene, or infamous to me, I guess, scene from the scavenger hunt episode, I guess the first part of scavenger hunt of Littlest Hobo, where it's like Ger and a lady, and then like there's the proto boyfriend, the like used to be boyfriend in the middle, being like, oh shit. So the first time we see Ger in this, we have Olivia and Chuck on the left and right of the screen, and we have Ger in the middle as like very clearly like, I'm going to be in the middle of all of this. And like the look on his face says, I know why you have blocked me here. That is correct. I am the dick. Hello. Here I am.
Yes.
I came here to be sued and to fuck, and I'm all done being sued. Like, ta-da. And I was like, okay. Oh, but I missed the best part. I forgot the best part. So when he shows up at the wedding, he's like, hey, Jaws. And I was like, oh, you got a callback? You got a little callback to the whole, like, little shark thing? Oh, you're little sharks together, aren't you? It's like, it's real fucking dumb. It's real dumb. This whole thing is real dumb, but, like, him being there, I mean, like, hey, remember that moment we had, like, 12 minutes ago when you thought you didn't want to fuck me? Like,
yeah.
Okay, so.
Psych, here we are. You did. You did. You always knew you did. All I had to do was ask you out. That's why he's like, let's go out to dinner. Oh, there's a wedding tonight? It's cool. I'll go with you. I'll be your date.
Give in to your true nature.
And she's like,
yay.
Maybe. She makes the wrong choice. We've established that.
Well, and to be fair, I have not seen the remake. Like, I think that if I remember correctly, the remake, or I guess season 9, because they're calling it season 9 now, I have heard that they spend that whole season dealing with the opioid crisis. Like, there's, I think the law firm that she's part of, yeah, that's the right face to make. They the law firm that she becomes part of, a new law firm in the new series. It's not the same one that she was part of before. And I think they're suing a pharmaceutical company, is kind of what I got from Wikipedia. And the characters, the lawyers who are at this new firm with Olivia, it sounds like they're all more diverse. So like more ethnically diverse and more culturally diverse, and there's like different points of view. So I'm like, maybe with an overarching case through the whole season, and with characters who have different points of view, instead of like the white guy and the slightly different white guy and then the slightly fatter white guy. Like maybe those things together, and the fact that it was made in 2019, like maybe that would make it like a good show. I would try the new show. I would give it a shot, just because like it sounds like it could be something interesting. And like Cynthia Dale is not a bad actress. Like, you know, I liked her. I mean, she seemed fine. But like the first series just seemed so fucking aggressively dumb and soap opera-y that like I would feel like pulling my own fingernails out if I had to watch that again.
That's fair.
Like, nothing against the acting. Like, it was better
the
acting
acting
than
was
Republic
fine.
of
It was
Doyle.
just the content. It was the content of the story.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, except for Ger. Like, obviously.
The Ger content was good. The Ger content is always good. Thumbs up for that. And thumbs up, credit where credit is due for how they treated the trans character. I mean, I don't know why they dressed her like Carmen Sandiego, but like otherwise they treated her with respect and dignity, and like for that in 1990, maybe I should give it an extra sloppy wet kiss for that, just as like a merit point, because that was good. They could have done that much worse.
Yeah,
so,
that
like,
could have gone real bad, and it didn't go real bad.
Yeah, it was just boring. How do you make Carmen Sandiego stealing from a till for gender confirmation surgery boring? Like, it's like Republic of Doyle. It's like Republic of Doyle. Like, I have a guy making drugs out of the back of his van, and like, you made that boring. Like, how the fuck? Anyways, come on, modern Canadian TV. I am rooting for you, but you're not giving me a lot to work with here. So now, next week, we're gonna go back to like the 80s, the early 80s, for Ikwe, where Ger's gonna have a Scottish accent and be walking around in a river and be real fucking racist. So like, get ready for that. It's gonna be a lot. It's gonna be so much. It's
I'm so
excited. I'm not looking for, like, I'm gonna have to rewatch it to like make some notes on it, and like he does a good job in it. Like it's like everything else. Like he does a good job, and I'm excited to see his part. But like, it's an educational film, and like it goes real hard. Is I guess all I'm gonna say. It goes like real hard.
We're gonna get to introduce the characteristic bad wigs and random accents.
Oh yeah, you don't even. Oh, he's Scottish. There's like at least one guy. Like it's gonna be really. But so he's good at accents. He's good at accents, or like he does a good job. But like, it is like real. It is a lot.
It's probably the stage version of the accent.
Oh yeah, no, he wants you to hear it up in the balcony, and you do. It is. Oh God, I'm not looking forward to that. Anyways, tune in next week for us trying to handle early 80s educational films, trying to handle Native Americans with sympathy and grace. So...
Until next time, friends.
Bye. Oh, don't tell them that we exist. Remember, don't
be a narc. Don't tell them we exist. Bye.
Bye.